I don't get it.
Podcast.
Hello, everyone. This is Lauren Iaconetti.
And this is Ashley Iaconetti.
And Naz Perez.
Alrighty.
Should we stop introing ourselves?
It just seems natural to
Oh,
do.
yeah. How does that work?
It does. I don't know. Ben and I do it too.
But what if
I'm
people
Ben
like...
Higgins.
I guess like
love
get
that.
used. This is Lauren. This is my voice. And then it's Ashley. This is my voice.
Everybody get used to it and assign your thoughts with each voice.
Yes.
And this is... I sound like a man.
And then
so
there's
the
a
guy
sexy
is...
girl
No,
over
you
there.
sound sexy.
I don't know. Do you guys think your voices sound sexy? Like when
I
people
think
Oh my God, I have the anti-sexy voice.
I think it sounds sexy coming out of my mouth until I hear it. And
I don't
back.
think any voice is sexy. No
You
voice is turned me
guys.
on. Like, I don't even know what that means.
Guys' voices.
A high
Ben.
pitched guy's
That's
voice
true. Guys'
turns me
voices. I
on.
guess I was just thinking girls. I'm like, what
Like
the fuck
Luke
is a
Pell's
sexy
speaking voice. Like he can get it.
Oh, yes.
Well, lots of guys can get it.
a lot of guys can get it. Yeah.
Pretty much every
We're
guy
talking about
can
girl
get it.
voices.
Do you guys think Peter's voice is hot?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Peter's voice is everything.
Okay, but here's the thing.
Oh, I'm getting sweaty. I'm starting to perspirate.
It's because the air is not
Perspire.
on.
You're starting to perspire, not
Okay.
perspirate.
Do you guys know
first
how
of
many wrong words I've gotten? Wait, hold on. This is a really good conversation.
What,
I want
wrong
to continue.
words?
No. Like
Oh.
voices.
That's what I was saying.
Oh, okay.
Something.
I thought you were going to move on.
No.
I was like, I'm not ready.
I was saying I love Peter's voice. I think it's so sexy. I don't like the way he fragments his sentences. They're like
pauses?
he speaks in very short sentences. Like, I went to the store
Pause.
and then I really liked your dog, and I'm like, I just speak like a human, like this, like on and on and on, and
On and on
these
and
are my
on.
feelings.
All
All
right,
right,
that's
well,
what's so sexy about it, though, because he's thinking. Lauren and I have this thing where if they seem like they're thinking like really about the words they're about to speak, it's sexier. If they talk slow and they put thought into
Well, yeah,
their
if you're
words.
Harry Styles and you think
Oh, that's-
before you speak, that's hot as
Yeah.
fuck. If you're talking like
Look, Rachel, I
this,
really like you.
and it doesn't, like, it just makes me feel
Very
like you're
excited to
like,
meet you. I'm like,
slow.
are you going to answer the question that I asked you?
But wait a second. We got to go back to Peter's speaking voice because Lauren was very keen on something.
He is Mel Gibson.
He sounds exactly like Mel Gibson.
Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah.
If you would
But
dump-
like Mel Gibson before he left those insane voicemails.
Yeah,
As John,
John
Smith.
Smith.
He was
No,
played John
in What
Smith.
Women Want.
Oh
Like
my God,
dancing
yes.
funny in the bathroom.
Yes, that's it.
I love that we're just like not talking about our
no,
topic.
we
right
have
now.
a
No, it's
topic
so
and we're
fine.
not talking about it.
It doesn't matter because we found another very important
I know.
topic.
All right. Well, just so everyone knows, the topic today is about freezing eggs because all three of us here at the table don't get it.
What?
So,
I get it.
No, we don't get
it.
how it
We don't
happens.
understand the process.
Well,
of course, we
I mean,
understand why women.
To be
freeze
honest,
eggs.
I get it.
You know the entire process. How
I
it
understand
works?
the process.
Okay, I have no idea.
So
I don't
you
know what
guys
goes
were going to
into
learn
it.
today.
Yeah, and a lot of people listening are going to learn. But before we call Carly Waddell, who's our special guest today.
Her name is Carly Bass now.
Oh my
my
God,
God,
Carly Bass!
Bass.
It's so
horrible.
awesome.
That's so
I'm
awesome.
so
I can't
jealous.
wait to get
I
my
want
last
to change
name
my
changed.
name.
I know, same. Anyways, before we do that, we need to kick it to our Aaron Carter expert, Lauren, because everyone's been hitting us up asking, what do you guys think about Aaron Carter?
Yeah, so just so happens, 2 weeks after we interview Aaron Carter, he is arrested for DUI. Now, I think I have the full story. It's a little choppy, so I'm going to try to gather my thoughts and put it in order. Okay, so Aaron Carter arrested with girlfriend with DUI, but this is the thing. Aaron rented a car, okay? He didn't want, no, he didn't rent a car. He bought a car. He bought a car.
Bought a car?
He bought a shitty car, and he'll admit it. He said, I bought a shitty car because I didn't want to pay for a rental for extended period of time because he's touring down in the South, I think.
Okay, that makes sense.
So he's like, I'm just going to drive this piece of shit. And then when I'm done with it, I'm done with it instead of renting a car for 3 weeks. So anyway, this shitty car stalls out. The starter is broken and the wheels aren't aligned. Okay. So he's driving the car and it's kind of going all over the road because the tires are fucked up. Okay. And then he pulls into an AutoZone to fix the car, to get some things to fix the car. Mm-hmm. And then a cop goes in after him and they go, step outside with us. You've been swerving. Someone's been saying you've been swerving all over the road. And then they're like, we're going to search your car. Do you have anything in there? He goes, yeah, I have marijuana. I have marijuana. This is my medical marijuana card. Oh. And then they're like, okay, well, would you do a blood test or a breathalyzer? And he said no. So I think that automatically puts you in jail if you don't take a breathalyzer.
I think you're right.
Yes. So then they arrested the girlfriend. I'm not sure why the girlfriend also went to jail, because I guess it was in their car, the weed. And I'm not sure how much weed was on him. It could be a lot that was like over the legal like card limit. And then they went to jail.
Okay.
And
so he wasn't drinking?
Was not drinking at all.
Our question was DUI, drinking or driving under the influence.
Yes,
the influence of anything. Okay.
He said he smoked weed 9 hours before he was arrested. I mean, we're taking this with a grain of salt. Like, he could have been drinking. He could have been smoking right as he was driving. But according to him, he wasn't doing anything. And the reason he can't drink is actually because he has a stomach hernia, which is like when part of your stomach goes up into your esophagus. No, he was diagnosed with a hernia when he was 16. So he can't really handle a lot of alcohol. Okay. So he couldn't even drink that much to get drunk.
Was his girlfriend drunk or high?
No clue about the girlfriend.
But she wasn't drinking.
But then why did she get arrested too?
I think because she
possession
also had possession, and maybe she didn't have a medical card and she had weed on her, or she was high or something, or she didn't say, yeah, I'll give you a breathalyzer or a drug test or whatever. So they automatically went in jail, and that's it basically.
So then what was his interview on ET? Because you watched the whole thing.
Yeah, the whole thing was just saying all of that basically, and he just was like, I'm just really sad, and just like on top of my dad dying, I got arrested for like a fucking nothing. And the police officer obviously knew who he was, and he doesn't look well. Like, Aaron's very thin, and I know he's been thin shamed, and it's because of his hernia. He smokes weed so he can eat, so his hernia doesn't hurt. So, like, he just, like, doesn't look well because he's not eating that much. So it's, like, nothing Aaron did.
Why? And you know the worst part is that when this happens, it's like you become an internet meme. And then people don't listen or read up on the story. And then they just assume, oh, Aaron Carter is, like, another Lindsay Lohan or something.
Yeah, I mean, like, he could have, whatever. We don't really know. But according to Aaron, and I believe Aaron because I love Aaron.
We all love Aaron.
He's so sweet.
And, like, having a medical condition like that, yeah, you can't drink that much. So, like, and he said he's never done meth. He's never done heroin. He said the biggest mistake in his life was probably doing ecstasy a couple times when he was younger. And that's all.
I really believe him.
Yeah. I do too. Yeah. So we here on the I Don't Get It podcast stand behind Aaron. And those are our thoughts. Lauren, you're so informative.
Yeah,
I love that
Lauren,
you're a great
expert. Aaron Carter correspondent.
That's going on my resume.
It really should be at the top. Oh my God,
Lauren, that I would die if Lauren made her resume, because she'd be like, Squire, we call her, she's my assistant, like Squire for reality star, Aaron Carter correspondent.
That's too amazing.
So let's just say that when Aaron feels comfortable, we'll definitely have him back on here to explain that whole showdown and, just a chat about life stuff beyond all of the headlines.
Right. Yep. And thoughts are with Aaron. Hopefully he's okay.
Love you, Aaron.
Love you. All right. So let's talk about freezing eggs. What are all our thoughts on it?
My thought is that it might be my 30th birthday present to myself.
So next year you're going to do it.
It's March.
I see no hurt in doing it. If you can afford it and you're like 30 or older, then do it.
Yeah.
Right. And my gyno actually told me I need to do it very soon because I have fibroids and endometriosis. So I'm actually really excited to talk to Carly because I have no idea how this works.
What does very soon mean?
Very soon means like in the next 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question about your endometriosis.
Yeah.
If you freeze your egg, do they just put the sperm in that frozen egg?
I have no idea. But that's what we should
ask
ask
the
Carly.
question.
Yeah.
And is it harder to carry kids with endometriosis, or is it just harder?
It's harder to have
the sperm get to the egg.
Yeah, it's harder to like get pregnant, and it's harder to like go through labor with it because it's just like scar tissue growing on it.
Right.
And then fibroids.
You would definitely need a C-section.
Right. And you guys already know I've already technically had one when I got my fibroids taken out. And fibroids are like these like cysts. They're non-cancerous, thank God, but they just keep growing in you until you have kids. And they were going to crush my ovary. Which is so annoying. So he's just like, you have all these things going against you, like best to freeze your eggs.
Yeah.
You know?
Would kids help your fibroids?
Yes. That's why, remember that day I went? They know the story. I went and it was like the worst day of my life because I found my first gray hair. And he's like, so Naz, you should be freezing your eggs today. I'm like, not today, Dr. Richmond, not today.
And he was like, are you sexually active?
And he goes, have you found the one yet? I'm like, what are these questions? This is a Bachelor audition? Like, What is this?
You guys, we have the newly crowned Mrs. Evan Bass, Carly Bass, on the phone with us right now. She's going to talk to us about egg freezing because she did it a year and a half ago. Carly, tell us about why you decided to do it.
Well, Whitney and I actually started talking about egg freezing when we were on The Bachelor. And she was giving me like all this information. I was telling her I had all these like hormonal problems. And when I was living in California, some doctor who I also think was a quack, but he was like, hey, I think you might have trouble conceiving because of all your hormone problems. And I was like, okay. And I knew I wanted kids. So I just started talking to Whitney about it. And then like, I don't know what, a couple of years later, she's like, hey, would you actually want to do this with my company? And I was like, yes. And so it all kind of was based on Whitney just telling me about it.
So when you did it, okay, so not everybody knows. A lot of Bachelor Nation may have followed the fact that Caitlyn and Andy got their eggs frozen, what was that, in March?
Right.
With Whitney.
Yes.
And you were just there for like kind of a check-in?
Well, no, I just kind of was like there for like support.
As someone
Like,
who's also gone
when
through
the
it.
process.
Right. And like when it's all over and done, like my eggs right now are just being babysat by like Whitney and her company.
That
I'm
is
always like, I'm
awesome.
the best babysitter in the whole
That's
world because
so
Whitney is with my
crazy.
babies.
That's so good. I heard I was reading yesterday, the eggs are frozen at negative 196 degrees Fahrenheit.
Wow.
Isn't that insane? How
That
someone
is-
can be okay and you like thaw them?
Oh my
I know,
God,
it's
like that's
crazy.
half a human right there.
That's crazy. Well,
It's
Carly,
so weird.
Can you, since like some of us have no idea,
But
like,
wait,
can you
I want to
just-
talk about her person for a second.
Okay.
Because Carly, I think what's so interesting about your story is that you froze your eggs a half a year before you met Evan.
Totally. And when I told him about it, he was like, that is so cool. Like because he wanted to have kids too. Like we want to have kids. And he was like, well, you made such a smart decision for the both of us, even though you didn't know me, because you were like taking care of that before you even met me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so nice. And you did it right after a breakup where you're just like,
I did.
you're like, screw this. Like I'm taking my life into my own hands right now.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, it was like, I actually did this first set of shots and we were together and we broke up the next day.
Wow.
So when I was doing all these injections by myself, I just had this like overwhelming sense of like, okay, well, that wasn't the father of your children. So
Wow.
like, we got this. Like, I just kept hearing like my future kids being like, go mom.
Oh,
and I was like,
Carly,
seriously.
that's
And 'cause
amazing.
It was
I'm gonna
like
cry.
it really was like an emotional, womanly mom experience to be like, yes, I want kids and I'm going to do this just in case I can't do it like naturally later.
For sure.
Wow.
I love that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, can you walk us through like someone who has no idea what this is like? Like, how does it work?
So there's, gosh, man, I really need Whitney for this. But that's okay.
She's going to come on. She is going to come on.
There's a few different shots that you have to take. So you start off with, I think 2 or 3 shots, and then you end up with 4 different shots. But you go in, they check you out, make sure that this would even work for someone like you, make sure like everything's okay down there. Okay. And then you start with your first shots at night. So you have to give yourself, actually at OVA, which is Whitney's company, you can have a nurse come and do them for you, but I was not in Chicago right then, so I was like, I can do it.
So you're able to do the prep outside of the city that you're getting it done in.
Yes.
Okay.
Amazing.
And
they
then-
mail you the shots?
Well, I had gone to Chicago for all of the prep work, went home for Valentine's Day when we broke up, and then went back.
Oh,
so
God.
I had all of the shots already with me, but Whitney explained to me how to do everything, and then she was like, if you need me at any moment, just FaceTime me and I'll explain it to you again. So I will say the first time I did them, like, I felt like I was going to faint, but that was because I wasn't breathing because I was terrified.
Because it's scary, right? Like, how big is this?
It goes in
needle?
your butt, or where does it go?
her stomach.
It
Oh,
goes in
your
your
stomach.
stomach.
Okay.
Yeah. But then after you do it once, you're like, okay, I've done this. Like, I can do it again. And there's only one shot that really stings. The other ones you don't even really feel going in.
So what are the side effects
Yeah,
of these
thank you, Lana.
shots?
That's what I was going to say.
So it's actually weird. It varies per person because, like, when Andy went through it, her stomach got really bloated. And the running joke was she was like, look, you guys, I'm pregnant. I get pregnant. And with mine, like, I definitely bloated, but it's just water weight, and it goes away, like, in, a couple weeks, definitely before your next period. But
Just wear some
I
high-waisted jeans and some maxi dresses.
Exactly. But I didn't really feel sick. I didn't feel like I was going on highs and lows, which is weird because I was going through, like, a terrible breakup. I kind of felt, I don't know, I felt like these hormones, like, made me feel really good.
Oh.
And it's personal for everyone, but I think because my hormones have been so out of whack, having hormones in my body finally, I was like, oh my gosh, this is what a woman's supposed to feel like. This is amazing.
So would you? Okay,
So
so it's
funny.
like you're high on female hormones, right?
Yes,
So
yes,
I wouldn't.
totally.
This is the most vain comment I've ever said. Well, actually, I've said a
Wow.
lot.
No, you said a lot.
I've said a
of
lot.
vain comments.
But like, if I do this for my 30th birthday present, I won't have like cystic acne because that comes with when like my testosterone levels are high.
That doesn't sound
I
vain.
totally thought you were going to say something else. I thought you were going to be like, I'd be
I
the
did
girliest
too.
girl ever.
I feel like I'm gonna have horrible cystic acne if I do it.
Oh, you feel
I
like
thought
you're
you
going
said
to
if you
get
have
it.
estrogen, then
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. If it is all estrogen, then I'd be good.
Interesting.
Oh,
So,
okay.
I
Carly,
mean, but there again, it only, this whole process only lasts like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So
oh, that's it? It's just 2 weeks long?
it's just 2 weeks, if not shorter.
Well, speaking of acne, I actually don't have any more because of BioClarity. You guys have heard us talk about BioClarity before. I love it because it's a natural way to clear your skin. It doesn't have any hard, weird chemicals. It's really calming, and it's natural, and it cools and it soothes on contact. I'm obsessed with it, you guys. It doesn't make me flaky and red and dry, which is the worst thing ever to put foundation on. If you have dry skin, like, nothing looks cute. Lauren can't stand it when I do makeup on dry skin. And
it looks
right?
gross.
and the
gross.
redness. It gets rid of the redness.
Yeah,
which is
so
the
I
best
don't
part.
even need a lot of makeup. And yeah, so it's just never flaky, and I can just have smooth, beautiful foundation because of BioClarity. It's a 3-step system, but it doesn't take long at all. First, you cleanse with a rich foaming cleanser. It removes all the dirt, oil, and environmental pollutants. And if you live in a city like LA, like us, you got to get rid of that. Then there's the treatment that penetrates your pores and attacks bacteria. And then finally, you use the Restore Gel, which leaves you feeling smooth and refreshed. You guys, I was talking about this product with Ben Higgins the other day on our other podcast, and he is so into the cooling part of this skincare process. And,
He's so
Whatever
cool.
Ben
he's
likes,
just,
we
and
like.
whatever Ben
Yeah.
likes, we like.
I mean, if Ben approves.
Yes.
Come on, guys.
So if you want to be like Ben Higgins and you want to be like us, go to bioclarity.com and our listeners will get their first month for only $9.95 plus free shipping. That's a $20 savings, and it comes with a 100% risk-free money-back guarantee. But you got to enter our code, which is GETIT, GETIT. And if they have a money-back guarantee, you can trust it. So go to bioclarity.com and enter our code GETIT.
Nice.
Let's us resume with this convo.
So you can't have an IUD, and you have to start birth control so they know how to track your cycles. Unless I guess my cycle's really off, so that's why I started birth control right before, which is why my boobs are really big at Jade's wedding.
They looked great.
Oh, they look so good.
They look so
They were
good.
so big. But then after that, they take you off the birth control, and then those shots substitute your birth control. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Oh, that's
Got
cool.
It. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But you're not allowed to have sex while you do no sex, no heavy lifting,
Oh,
and
it's
no
gonna be such
alcohol.
a problem for me.
I know.
Sex and heavy lifting.
That'd be a problem for Lauren.
I take that load on 4, Ashley.
Wait, so that's amazing. It's just 2 weeks. I want to ask, do you know how much it costs generally?
See, well,
That we should probably ask Whitney.
I'll ask Whitney.
I
that.
don't know, but Whitney definitely will know.
Okay. And it's a couple shots every night before you go to bed. And you start with 1 or 2 and end up with 4.
Yeah, and then at the end, I think you start with 2 and you end up with 4. At the end, you have to do it in the morning and at night. And then you get 1 shot at the very end in your butt, which Whitney did for me, and I didn't even feel it. She did it, and I was like, and she goes, okay, I'm done. I was like, what? I didn't even feel that, which was crazy. But that's like what they call your trigger shot, which triggers your body to release the eggs so they can get them like the next day.
Whoa. That's so cool.
Yeah.
So there's multiple eggs that are released?
Yes.
Okay.
So wait.
When you get
Yes,
your
that's what they do.
This
The
is so
hormones-
crazy.
The hormones like make your body produce, or not produce because you have them already, but like make extra eggs come out.
Oh.
So it like makes your body cycle
Release
like over and
them.
over and
Okay.
over and over. Yeah. Because normally you only have 1 egg come out, but
Yeah.
this makes you have like tons of eggs come out.
Okay.
Then when they take them out of you, they can tell which ones are good and which ones aren't good. So then they just look through and they're like, okay, well, we have 8 good ones, and then they freeze those.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
wait.
I forgot that there's good ones and bad ones because
Yeah.
there's people that try and then sometimes all of them come out bad, I think, and they have to keep doing it.
Yeah, honestly, I had a pretty low count. Like most people have a lot more than I did. And so it was another reason I was glad I did it, because I was like, well, at least I have some.
What's the average, or is there an average of like how many eggs we should have, or is it
gosh.
just everyone's really different?
I think everybody's pretty different. I mean, I remember when Caitlin went in, they were like, whoa, you're super fertile. And for me, they didn't say that.
That's funny. See, I think they'd say that about me, but I wouldn't have thought they said this about Caitlyn. You know how everybody always says, like, oh, J-Lo or like Eva Mendes, they're so
It's
fertile.
all in the hips.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not going to
So
be
funny.
fertile.
You
That's
look
so
fertile.
Okay, someone can look
I
fertile.
say you look
but-
fertile.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
I think
thanks,
you look
guys. Does that
fertile.
mean I look fat? What
Oh,
does that
no.
mean?
No.
It looks like you have birthing hips and a nice large butt.
Oh, great.
I totally
I'm
agree.
big.
So after you get the shots, you go into the hospital?
No, okay, wait, hold on.
You
Or-
go in-
I want to talk more scientifically to Whitney about this.
Yeah.
But I love to know about your like physical, like the tax that was on your body. First off, I need to say that I always thought that they went right into the ovary to take the egg out.
I did too.
Me too.
I didn't know it was
But
in
you're
your
saying that
stomach.
they're like released.
Well, they're released into these like what do they call them? Houses. So the ovary like houses eggs, and they're like they kind of come off of the ovary, I think, and that's where they get them out of. So normally it'll just have one little house, and instead it'll produce like 12 houses, and each house may or may not have an egg in there.
Honestly, I thought this was way more simple. Than it seems.
I am scared to get mine done because then I feel like, Carly, if I have like a one night stand the next day after my 2 weeks, I have all the 12 houses
Wait,
are
that's
open,
why
right?
they tell you
wouldn't
to not
do
have
that.
sex because you're obviously like, gonna get pregnant with like 8 eggs and you'll have 8 babies. Is that why?
I don't think so.
No, that's
Think
probably
we're
not
like
why,
that.
but I'm just thinking after, you're probably like fertile AF.
Yeah.
But I
Fertile
think
as fuck.
after,
That's a
like,
shirt I'm going to get for you,
I
Carly.
think after you don't want to have sex anyway, because you're like they just went in and basically did a surgery in there, so you're not going to want to be like, yeah, get up inside me
Ugh.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's crazy. So how does it work? Okay, so Whitney is babysitting your eggs. How does
Yes.
it work now if you want to get them put back in your body?
So if you want to get them put back in, I think you would have to have a sperm donor, or obviously I'd have Evan, and then they'd create an embryo, and
In
then
the
they would
Petri
put
dish.
it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they would put it inside you and see if it takes.
Yeah. Okay.
And how do they
Yeah.
put it inside you with like a syringe?
Yeah.
A turkey
You've
baster.
watched Kardashians before.
I know, but I
Yeah,
don't have
it's
cable,
like
so
a
I missed
really,
out on some
it's like a
seasons.
really long needly looking thing.
That's so
Although I was put
insane.
under, you're put under when they take them out.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming it's kind of like the same process going back in, which is also cool because then they could tell you I think they can figure out if it's a boy or a girl, and then you could be like, oh, I want a girl, and then they
I know,
put
you
it right
definitely
inside
can
you.
do gender
That's
selection right there.
So cool.
Yeah,
I
I
know.
kind of
Science is
think
nuts.
I don't know what I would do. I
don't
think it would
think I
depend
like
on my
that.
kid. Like, if I had 2 boys and I didn't have a girl yet, then I'd probably ask for it to be a girl.
I don't think I like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
And God would curse
Yeah.
you
Oh,
by
I
making
love
her
it.
like an ugly girl.
It's like
by
a whole
choosing.
bunch of things. Like, people, it's such a controversy, like gender
I know.
selection.
I mean, I'm
I
not
know.
super opposed. I just think it's weird. You guys don't think it's weird? You have to admit that's so weird. You tell a person that you don't know that's working at a workplace, I want a girl, and then you just have a human. That's
Well,
a
it
girl.
is the
That's
rest of your
fucking
life.
weird.
Like, if I want a daughter, so like if I have 2 boys and I want a daughter, then and I'm doing in vitro, I'm gonna do it.
no, I agree with you, and I think
Yeah.
that's amazing. I just think the concept of telling
No, the concept
an
is
employee, "Oh yeah, I would like a girl." Thanks.
it's like
Can you
I
work that
ordered
out
from
for
It's
a
like ordering a
drive-thru.
fucking McFlurry.
Yeah.
Oreos or
I know.
M&Ms. I'm gonna take M&Ms this time. Like, it's insane.
That is really funny.
I have a question. Did you do this at like Whitney's thing, or where do you go for it?
Yeah, she did Whitney's thing in Chicago.
I did
Ovo.
it at Whitney's place at Ova in downtown Chicago, and they got a new facility, which is actually so cute and so girly. And it looks like you walked into like a Kate Spade store. It's so cute.
Okay, there's an anesthesiologist there that puts you under right there.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
This is a dumb question, I think. But can guys do this?
Naz, the guys have an everlasting amount of sperm.
Yeah, they
Do
don't
you know how
need this.
some guys aren't fertile? Aren't some guys like not fertile?
They don't
Oh,
have good
yeah,
swimmers.
Actually, no, you're right. They don't
So
have
can't
good
they
swimmers.
like freeze good
I think
swimmers?
this is an Evan conversation.
Oh
Where's
my
Evan?
God,
Is he
wait a
there?
No,
second.
you do. You need Evan.
Wait, is he there? Put him on the phone.
No,
How
he's
did
in
we not
Alabama.
even realize we should have Evan
Wait,
as
we'll
the
just
second
call
part of
Evan. All right,
this?
we'll call Evan when he gets off work.
He's out looking for new facilities because he has outgrown his facility in Birmingham. So
Perfect.
they're looking for a bigger place.
Carly, you really fucking got the
She
jackpot.
scored.
So mad.
I know,
dude.
he's so amazing.
Fucking made it. When are we going to Nashville?
Oh my gosh, whenever. Come over.
I really want to go. I've never
When
been.
you're settled into your new house.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. We move in
my
like
God.
2 weeks or something.
Okay. I feel like I have so many other questions.
We do. Well, Carly, what advice
But like,
do you
I
have for
just
people
like
listening?
love like this imagery. I don't know why I love the imagery. It makes me want to go freeze my eggs right
You
now.
would faint every day.
I
You
know,
would.
I
You
would.
would.
I just think it's a really, really smart idea. And I know it is a controversy. I know people are like, there are the people out there that say, well, we shouldn't be able to control something like this.
I
But
think that's ridiculous. That's like
I'm also
saying
like,
like,
we have
oh,
the capability now. So I think if you want to do it and you believe that it's okay for you to do it, so do it.
people who say that, it annoys me like crazy. It's like, oh, you have cancer. Well, let's just not do chemo
Yeah.
and surgery.
Right, right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh my God.
But yeah,
that's so
I just think
insane.
I'm so glad I did it. I would do it, if my eggs, like, I don't know, because I have a low amount, like if they didn't work, I would do it again in a heartbeat.
So that leads me to my next question. So like right now you feel like you're young enough that you'll be able to get pregnant on your own. At what age, like at what number child do you think that what age to you would you decide to use your frozen eggs versus trying the natural way?
I think last time I went in, when I was there with Caitlin and Andy, Dr. Kaplan, who's the main doctor there, who I am obsessed with, he's so nice. But he was like, if you and Evan try to have the baby and you don't get pregnant in like 6 months, then come back to me and we'll try to get you pregnant.
That's
So
awesome.
so I think if you try for a while and you're like, okay, this isn't working, then maybe let's use our eggs. Or, if I had one kid and I couldn't get pregnant with a second, then I have eggs,
I guess what I'm talking about is like the age of a healthy egg.
Carly, do you know how much? Then again, another dumb question. So you said you had 8 good ones. How many of those do they use? Would they use all 8 to try and get you pregnant for one child? Or
I think they would probably just do it one by one. I think when you unfreeze them, some of them don't make it. So like, let's say if they unfroze them and there was only 6 that made it, then I think they would just be like, okay, let's try one egg. And then, okay, let's try another egg. And they would just keep trying until you didn't have any left. That's my guess.
That's an interesting thought. That's kind of scary, though, that after they unfreeze it, some of them don't make it because you go through this whole thing to have all of them, right? So is there a scenario where people have frozen their eggs and then they're unfrozen and none of them are good?
Probably.
I have no idea.
Situations like that.
That's a Whitney
But
question,
I think that's
too.
why you have like
I think that's why
quintuplets,
people do it
too.
again.
You know, you put like 6 eggs in there, and then
Right.
you just have. And then you think only one of them's gonna take, but actually they all
Right.
take, and you got 5 kids.
That's like when they said like we only have one left.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Juliana Rancic
yeah.
said like her last one.
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
work.
So
sad.
crazy.
Yeah, which is why you would definitely do it again. I mean, you know, I don't know that Andy would do it again because I know that she didn't like the process of how her body was reacting to it, but I didn't mind it. So I think it's just every person is so different, and how hormones affect people are so different.
Andy probably really didn't like the fact she couldn't have sex for 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's probably true too.
I wouldn't like being bloated for 2 weeks. I'm always bloated.
But the thing is it goes away so fast. Like you look at yourself and you're like, this looks so weird, but then it's gone.
That's Ashley every night.
Yeah, exactly. I wake
bloated
up every
every night.
morning and I'm fine.
I have
Yeah.
like a life bloat that'll never go away. Or maybe I'm just fat and I just keep saying I'm bloated.
You're not fat.
I
All right.
don't think
Well,
I don't think that's it.
no one's fat here. Well, Carly, thank you very much. We're going to ask Whitney
Thank
a couple
you so
questions.
much.
Yeah,
We're
Carly,
gonna go
thanks
back
so
to Whitney
much.
for the
This is-
science of it.
This was so
Tell her
helpful.
I said hello.
We shall.
We will.
Thank you.
Love you and your eggs.
Okay, I'll talk to you girls later.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, bye.
All right, guys, this is so interesting, but I have to stop and tell you guys about how I've been saving money this month.
And it's also medically.
It is medical. This is a very medical podcast today.
Medically.
Is that a word?
Medically.
So aside from freezing my eggs, I also wear contacts, and literally contacts are so expensive, guys. Like one box of contacts is like over $100.
No.
Yes, it's
Are
so
you
much
for
money.
real?
No, I swear, it's a huge expense every month. It's so annoying because I literally have to see. And Hubble, thanks to Hubble, they've saved my life because it's so cheap. You can get a fresh pair of lenses for every single day. Like I used to wear the 2 weekly ones, and now I have a fresh pair every day.
Yeah, I like fresh pairs.
60 contacts for $30, which is $1 a day. Like that is the cheapest contact you will ever have. It's half the price of other brands.
A quarter pounder.
It basically is. They're quality daily lenses for half the price of the other guys, and other contacts are just way too expensive. And if you don't have like a new prescription, Hubble will actually send you to an optometrist to get it. So it's a one-stop shop at their website. You can get everything done and no more overpaying for contacts because it's such a dumb expense. Like buy shoes instead. So it's easy on the wallet. Go to HubbleContacts.com to get your first 2 weeks of lenses for free. That's like an insane deal. So everyone listening, if you guys wear contacts or know anyone that wears contacts, tell them to go to HubbleContacts.com. That's HUBBLE contacts.com. And you get 2 weeks for free. That's 15 pairs of lenses for free. You guys really can't beat this deal. Like Hubble is only offering this to our listeners. So make sure, again, you guys go to HubbleContacts.com.
Amazing. I need some more.
All right. Back to what we were talking about.
All right. Well, now we have Whitney on the phone, and she's going to give us the more scientific perspective of all of this. Hey, Whitney, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi.
You are the official Bachelor egg freezer.
I love it. I love that title.
Okay, so how long have you been doing this for? And explain the real title of your job.
So I am an egg freezing specialist, nurse specialist.
Mm-hmm.
So I have been a fertility nurse for going on 10 years now.
Wow.
So I've worked in all different kind of specialties of reproductive medicine, but I have been doing egg freezing now for like 3 to 4 years. I froze my eggs like 5 years ago, so right after that.
All right, well, that's a great way to lead into our next question. Who is the most fitted for egg freezing, and at what age would you suggest a single girl to do it?
So I feel that every woman would benefit from freezing their eggs, but in a perfect world, the best time to do it would be 25 to 35.
Okay, that's a big
older
span,
than that,
though.
Yeah, if you're older than that, though, it doesn't mean that you're not a candidate. It's more about then just managing expectations.
And expectations being less eggs to grab.
Meaning less eggs or the quality of them. So we call that the ovarian reserve or a woman's fertility potential, and that consists of quality and quantity. So as a woman ages, both of those will decline.
That's an interesting It's interesting concept that you bring up because we were just talking to Carly about the whole process, and she was telling us that she actually had 8 good eggs, and she was saying that sometimes when they unfreeze your eggs, not all of them live. So is that true? And like
That is true.
And also, has there ever been someone that's done it and all of them have been bad after they unfreeze it? Because that's kind of scary.
It is. And I mean, I think that one of the things that every woman should know is that by freezing your eggs, it's definitely not a guarantee of pregnancy in the future. It's more of an insurance policy. But there is the chance, and it depends on the lab you go to, So that's why it's important that before you go and freeze your eggs, that you do your research and make sure that wherever you go is trained in terms of doing the egg freezing and doing it correctly, because it's very, very sensitive technology and it's advanced throughout the years. So in our lab, we have a 99% thaw rate, but that's going to vary from place to place. Yeah. And that's just a chance that you take, that they all may not be of great quality when you go back to thaw them.
Wow. And your lab is OVA in Chicago, correct?
So we are owned by a parent IVF laboratory, and our specialty clinic is called OVA, and that's in Chicago, yes.
Okay, so Whitney, you know how I got in big trouble like 2 years ago on Paradise? I said that Claire, who was 34 at the time, I said her eggs are almost dead. And
my God.
Now
So
this
mean.
is something that I was 27 and I was listening to my mom a lot. My mom is always she always reminds me that fertility starts to go down at 28. Is that correct?
We typically say 30.
30.
Yeah.
Okay. So I offended so many people out there, but like by the actual definition, 35 is when you start considering it a geriatric pregnancy?
We typically say 38.
Oh, well, look
Fantastic.
at this. Everything's getting older. This makes me feel better about my life.
Yeah.
That's a relief off my back.
Okay, so this makes me feel better about everything, but egg freshness, like ideally, when is the best time to get pregnant? And if you are single at a certain point, like say I'm single, at my 30th birthday, and I've got no prospects of a husband. That's a good time to be freezing my eggs, right?
Well, it is, but I think that you have to look at it as, the younger that you are when you do it, the better. So when I did it, I actually was in a relationship. But
Right, that's a good point to bring up is like if you're in a relationship or engaged,
You
you
can
still
still
freeze your eggs.
Yes.
It's a single thing.
Caitlin's the perfect
Because
example. Caitlin's
It
engaged.
may not even be necessarily for baby number 1. Like, let's say that you get married at 32 and wait a little bit to have kids.
Exactly.
Because,
Also,
you
your
want to live your life.
relationship,
And then,
there's no guarantee it's going to last.
Right.
Who are we talking? You know, we know.
exactly.
Relationships
But,
don't
like,
last.
let's say you get pregnant at 35 naturally, and then you want to have another kid at 38. So maybe that's not going to happen naturally. That's called secondary infertility. And then you've got your eggs, on ice if you need them.
All right, so that's the question I have for you. So say I have my first kid at 33. When I get to the age of 36, when I want the second one, should I be using my frozen egg or should I use a natural process?
Yeah, so we get that question a lot. And, the older that you get, the more likely that your eggs are going to have chromosomal abnormalities. So that your pregnancy would either result in a miscarriage or that it wouldn't, implant at all. So typically if you're less than 40, we would say, just try naturally. But if you have recurrent pregnancy loss or if there seems to be something that's going on, then definitely your younger eggs are going to have a less likelihood of having a chromosomal abnormality.
Okay, so I always was led to believe up until about this year, I think it was when you started freezing, Andy and Caitlin and Carly's eggs, that I really started thinking, okay, so it's about the quote freshness of the egg, not the youth of the womb.
Correct. So it would be
Interesting.
like the quality of the egg, not the womb. So eggs age, but your uterus doesn't.
Okay.
Oh.
So a person who freezes their eggs at 30, technically, if she's 50, she could go through this process and have a healthy
Yes.
child.
Yes, she could.
Yeah, I'm
Amazing.
sure labor would be a little more taxing. But
Yeah. So, you have to take, a lot of times so before I did egg freezing, I worked in third party reproduction. So we had a lot of women that would have to resort to a donor egg if they were having trouble getting pregnant on their own with their own eggs. And we would treat them until typically they were like 45 and they could use a donor egg. But at that point, they would have to go through medical screening with their primary care to get their, an EKG done and make sure that they are healthy, because it is taxing on the human body. Pregnancy is.
Whitney, I have a question. So just like how Carly told us that she has 8 eggs, let's say she wants to use her eggs for her second child, like Ashley was saying. How many eggs do you guys use? Because what if she wants to use it for her third again? Do you use all 8?
So what we would do is we would thaw all of them and fertilize all of them, or attempt to fertilize all of them. And here's the thing that you got to think about, that there's a natural attrition that takes place. So even when we fertilize them, not all of them will fertilize, or attempt to fertilize them, I should say. Not all of them will fertilize. And then once they grow to embryos, not all of those embryos would be chromosomally normal. So there's going to be a natural cutoff that kind of every step of the way that could potentially happen. So let's say we thawed all of 8 of her eggs and fertilized them with Evan's sperm, and then there was like 4 embryos, and we transferred 2 of them, and there's 2 left over. We can refreeze those.
You can refreeze the embryo. You can't refreeze an egg, right?
No.
Okay.
Interesting. And so has it ever happened to, I know you said you have a 99% rate, but has it ever happened where you've like unfrozen or thawed them and then fertilized them and then none of them are good?
Luckily, no. Not yet.
Now,
there's something to be said about that this is a newer technology. So right now it's becoming more mainstream and more women are doing it. So there's not a huge women to poll, in 2017 that have come back to use them. So I think that would be a good question, 10 years from now, the people that have come back, what's the likelihood of that?
Right. What is the thawing process like? Because Lauren was saying earlier that it's like negative 900 degrees Fahrenheit or something.
Oh my God. That is one thing that I would not know. That would be an embryologist. I'm not sure. I'll have to ask.
So you fertilize it, Whitney, after it's thawed?
I don't personally. So what I do in terms of my position at OVA is that I work with the women going through the process, teach them about them, educate them on the medications, help them with their injections, and kind of their partner along the way.
All right. So obviously this has become increasingly popular. Like, what's the percentage of growth in the past 10 years of women freezing their eggs?
Oh my God. It's like tenfold. And the reason for that is because
men aren't settling.
People aren't settling. And I think that their negative stereotypes have kind of been bashed. And the science has just improved so much over the past decade that it's actually working. It's
so
successful.
Cool. How much does this cost, Whitney?
So it's going to range from facility to facility. And some people do have insurance coverage, although right now it's minimal. So I would say right now one cycle is going to be somewhere, depending where you go, between $7,000 to $10,000.
Okay. That's actually more affordable than I thought. I feel like it used to be 20 or something, but as technology grows, I guess it's easier to do.
Right, exactly.
Whitney, is there an average amount of eggs that people come out with, or is it just everyone's different?
Everyone's different in terms of their genetics and their age. The age is the number one factor. So we really do recommend freezing as close to 20 as we can get. And the reason, is not because a woman's going to have, nobody in their right mind wants to have 20 kids. But, like I was just explaining, that there's a natural attrition. So not all of those eggs will result in a baby.
Right. So 20 is a good number.
Yeah, 20 is a good ballpark number.
Okay. Interesting.
I've got 2 more questions for you.
Yeah. I have a couple too.
Okay, good. I know that there doesn't seem to be any necessary thought process on here. Just a lot of random questions.
We're just spitballing because it's I don't get it.
But I kind of want to hit every question that some listener in their car is like, oh, but what about this? So I kind of want to think for everyone here. Can you clarify the side effects? Carly had minimal side effects. She said she was just bloated, but she felt extremely womanly. But on the other hand, Andy didn't have a super positive experience, as in she felt like she was suffering for those 2 weeks a little bit more than Carly. So what's the average feeling that a woman goes through in the 2 weeks that she's getting the shots?
So the number one, I guess I would say, complaint or side effect that I hear is feeling full and bloated and temporary weight gain. During that 2 week period, you can't exercise or have sex or lift anything super heavy. So you're
sounds like my life right now.
So you are pretty much like a couch potato. So you're not able to, you just kind of feel blah. But typically, people still go about their everyday lives, can still work and everything like that.
Lauren, you be even more couch couch ridden than normal.
Of course, yeah.
You kind of
I'd
like
actually,
that.
I'm
It'd
a
be an
perfect
excuse.
candidate for this.
I really want to see Ashley go through this because she's just so
Dramatic.
diva-y
So
when it
dramatic.
comes to like when she has a headache, it's like a hospital.
Yeah, but
Like,
I would
visit.
take 2 weeks off and be like, I'm not doing anything but
Yeah, but to
hibernating.
feel full and bloated, I feel like you. I don't know. We eat ramen pretty often. Maybe it wouldn't be that. Maybe it wouldn't be that foreign of a concept. Do you have a follow up, Ashley, or can I ask Whitney?
Yeah, it's not a related follow-up, but if girls can freeze their eggs, there's certain science that's indicating that sperm also ages. Like guys can have
That's what I was
kids at
gonna
every
ask.
age.
Yeah.
But
We are seeing, so as men grow older, the morphology of their sperm, which is the shape of their sperm, starts to become, it lowers. So meaning that you typically want 14% of a male specimen to its morphology to be shaped correctly. So a lot of like the heads are too big or the tails are too
Oh my
small.
God.
So when they're shaped irregular, they're not able to fertilize an egg.
To latch. Wow. So can guys freeze their swimmers?
They
Like
can.
good ones?
But here's the thing, guys make sperm every 16 days. So to me, right now, what studies are showing is that the increase in, incorrect morphology or shape with age is really not significant enough that you would need to freeze your sperm when you're younger.
I get that, but you know how you're saying like the quality of our egg, if that's not like fresh, the chromosomes can go wacky. Can the chromosomes in the sperm go wacky?
No,
Okay.
Interesting.
Good
Wait,
for them.
so Whitney, you said they can or they can't freeze them?
they cannot. That's all based on the woman's egg
We
quality.
hold the power.
I have one
know.
question. You know how like couples have trouble conceiving and they end up with like 6 babies at once? How does that happen?
So
a
that
great
happens
question.
in IVF when you stimulate a woman. Well, there's 2 ways it could happen actually. So in IVF, we remove the eggs, we fertilize the sperm, we grow the embryos outside of the body. And then technically any knowledgeable physician would know better than not to put in more than 2 embryos.
Okay.
So now if they put in more than that, you're putting the woman at risk. But even if you put in 2, there's a very, 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 very small percentage that they could both split once you put them in. So that would be 4.
Oh, so you have 4 babies.
got
Okay.
But it's very rare that happens. We often see multiples more with IUI, which is intrauterine insemination. So basically what that is that we still stimulate the woman, but right before she ovulates, we time that with inseminating her with her partner's sperm. So that's less control. So basically we're, putting the sperm up there and letting them just kind of fertilize as they will for however many eggs a woman released.
And
So if she has 6 eggs and we just, put the sperm in there, there's a chance that all 6 of them could fertilize.
And that's why as like the years go on, we're seeing more people have twins.
100%.
Oh, interesting. Whitney, I have a very random question. I hope you don't get offended.
No.
because
Go
I'm
right
sure
ahead.
this has never happened in your clinic, but I have to ask. So when we were just on the phone with Carly, and Carly's like, I have the best babysitters in the world. Like Whitney is watching my future kids, which was a really, really cool thing. And of course, my mind always goes to worst case scenario. And I'm like, oh my God, like has anyone's eggs ever been switched? What if someone hijacked the building? Like how secure, like are the doors behind these
Nobody's
eggs?
trying to steal other people's eggs.
You never
that's
know.
a really good question. I would ask the exact same thing. So it has not in our facility, but definitely there has been mistakes in terms of things that have happened where the wrong sperm was, inseminating an egg or the wrong thing was transferred. So that's really, really important that the lab is trained and triple checking everything.
Wait, so what happened in those scenarios? What happened?
Oh my
Lawsuits.
gosh.
That's what happened.
So you have a baby that's not yours technically?
I guess like when they're born, you figure out you're like, oh, this doesn't look
you
like me or my
could.
husband.
I mean, I've heard several things. I've read so many studies. I mean, there's been, lawsuits that have happened with that. I've heard that women were given like plan B after they realized the mistake. Oh my God. I've heard so many different stories. Whether those are true or not, I'm not really sure. I'm just reading stuff online half the time. So I'm not really, how that goes.
My
But,
producer wheels are spinning and I'm like, this is a reality show.
Yeah.
People
it
that
could
have the
be.
wrong baby.
It could be.
That's
but,
terrifying,
the lab
Whitney.
is trained in terms of triple checking everything and in terms of where they're stored. So they're stored in tanks, and those tanks are checked every single day. They float, they're biodegradables, all of that sort of stuff. So they really are. I haven't heard of anyone ever losing their eggs, but I guess I mean, I don't know. I guess it could happen. Now you've got my wheels turning.
I know. I'm sorry. It was just a random thought in my head. I'm sure it never happens though. And I would definitely freeze my eggs. I actually need to. So
Yes, come freeze your eggs.
wait, that's a great question. So like if I live here in California, Whitney, like is there a way where you guys could mail me like the shots and stuff?
Yeah, so we do that a lot. I mean, we see a lot of patients that are not local to Chicago. We also see a lot of international patients. So we're really used to doing that. So although logistically it may seem complicated for the patient, it's something that we're just accustomed to. But yeah, absolutely. There's ways that we're able to work with physicians that would be near you to where we would monitor and manage your case, but you could do a lot of your monitoring, which is ultrasound and blood work local in LA. And then just come to Chicago for the actual procedure.
Okay, we'll expect Naz and I to come in the next 9 months.
How would we or listeners sign up for this?
So what you would do is
sign up
you
for
can
my
either
next
go to our website, which is ovaeggfreezing.com, or you can email me at Whitney, which is Whitney@ovaeggfreezing.com.
Okay. Well, I think you're going to get a lot of emails.
Yeah, you're going to get a lot of emails.
Yeah. Or you can call us. Let me give the phone number too. It's 312-800-0228.
Awesome.
When you were going through school, did you like specialize in fertility?
I didn't. I just fell into it. I never knew this was something that really even existed. We really didn't even touch on it in school. But I came out and just, thought I was going to do cardiac care. And once I was actually in the cardiac unit, it just was very stressful and something that I just was not fitted for. And so I was really kind of looking in terms of what would be a good fit for me. And I came across this and I kind of fell into it. And that's where I've been ever since.
It is truly so rewarding. Yeah. I think about a couple decades ago, we just couldn't do it. If you couldn't have kids, you really couldn't have kids. You just had to adopt. There really wasn't any alternatives.
Yeah, it really is rewarding. And, the couples that I've worked with throughout the past decade, just being a part of their life and their kids' lives and going to baby showers and birthday parties and all of that stuff. It's really awesome.
Whitney, this is so cool. You're a baby maker.
I am.
I'm going to leave on one final funny question. Because before you mentioned that guys produce sperm every 16 days.
Yeah.
Yes.
Does that mean that if they have sex a zillion times that they're going to run out of cum?
So it is true. When we do semen analyses, we tell the men to be abstinent for 3 to 5 days just so that they can build up their source.
Interesting.
So it is true. Yeah. I mean, they're not going to run out, but their count might be a little bit lower.
That's a funny question.
Gotcha.
I like it.
Well, Whitney, this was a
All the
pleasure.
questions were so good.
I know,
Thanks
Whitney.
so much for having me.
I'm so happy I finally met you, even if it's over the phone.
I know. Quote unquote met you. Yes.
Yes.
It was great to talk to you gals and let me know if there's anything else I can help with.
I'm sure you'll be hearing from Ashley and I very soon.
Yeah. Everybody come. It'll be so fun.
Thank you. All right. I'm going to
guys.
book my flight. Bye.
All right. Love you, Whitney. Bye.
All right, guys, I'm going to go out and say this is probably one of my favorite podcasts so far. I love it when we do an informative one so people think that,
we're all learning together.
we're smart.
Yes. I love it.
So great. All right. Leo, I love it.
I don't know why I said it like that. That's
but honestly, I'm actually kind of excited about freezing my eggs.
Actually,
my mom will be so happy.
Same. I think everyone should freeze their eggs. The younger you are, the better.
I should.
I mean, why not? It is a great insurance policy.
I honestly could chill out a lot more because I think the only reason I'm actually stressing out now is because I'm I don't want to I want to be able to have at least I want to have 3 kids.
That's so true. We're all scared and working up against our body clock. When we were talking to Chris.
Well, that's what
really.
That's what Cupcake's saying. The technology's allowing us to chill out.
But in real life, I'm a really happy person. I love my life right now. Not looking for a dramatic change.
No, of course not.
And I'm not looking to have kids in the next 3 years yet either.
No, but we want to have kids eventually. Yeah. So I think this is such a good idea.
Well, I'd also love to freeze my eggs so we could start a GoFundMe for Lauren because I don't have $7,000.
That's true. I was just thinking neither do I, but I think that they definitely probably have payment plans. And it's such a good investment. I mean, this is your children. This isn't a car or an apartment.
You can sacrifice on some dinners out.
Yeah. Start saving that money.
All right.
All right. Bye, guys.
Thank you so much. Subscribe, tweet us. Let us know what you think. Love you.
Again, looking for people who have been ghosted. If you think your ghoster will actually speak to us, please contact Naz at info@heartbrokenanonymous.com.
Exactly.
All right. See you next week.
Bye, guys.
I don't get it.
Podcast.